Many dictators emerged from wealthy families, trained to rule from a young age and groomed for life in the public eye. Others, however, like the Italian fascist Benito Mussolini, emerged from the masses of middle-class workers to gain complete control over an entire nation. This remarkable rise came as a result of intelligence, stubbornness, and an unstable political climate in which a man willing to speak on behalf of the people could obtain an incredible power. Where absolute monarchs of the past had their bloodline to thank for their near omnipotence, Mussolini used his natural talents and the politics of his era to lead a country to devote itself wholly to war. Mussolini was born July 29, 1883, in a town near the city of Forlì in Italy. His father was a blacksmith and a socialist. The socialists wanted to shape infrastructure so that people would have better lives. This was achieved through higher taxes and more governmental influence on the economy. Though Mussolini was very bright, he also had a fiery temper and was expelled from school as a young man for acts like throwing stones at a congregation and stabbing a student in the hand. Mussolini moved to Switzerland in 1902, almost 20 years old. He became involved with the socialist movement, reading works of scholars who sometimes advocated for violence when they deemed it necessary. Some of these ideas influenced Mussolini deeply, and he began working for a string of Italian socialist newspapers.
He moved from Switzerland to Italy to Austria-Hungary and finally back to his hometown of Forlì. By this time, Mussolini was known for one of the most prominent socialists in Italy. However, as Mussolini rose in the Socialist Party, he began to run into political differences with the party. For example, Mussolini supported some scholars who opposed egalitarianism, or the philosophy that wealth and power should be distributed equal among people, which put him at odds with many other socialists. The final straw came when Mussolini broke from the Socialist Party with his support for World War I. Though he had earlier spoken out against the war, he saw the political instability it would create as an opportunity. He was at this point ousted out from the Italian Socialist Party and began the formation of the Fascist Party. After serving in World War I as an Allied soldier, Mussolini began his rise to political power.
In the March on Rome in October 1922, Mussolini and members of the National Fascist Party seized power from Prime Minister Luigi Facta and King Victor Emmanuel III. Benito Mussolini became the youngest prime minister in Italian history and started to secure his power by forming a police state, while at the same time appealing to the masses with economic plans to reduce unemployment and other populist policies. Propaganda was used to convince people to support Mussolini's fascist government. Next, Mussolini began encouraging a sense of nationalism through war and conquest. Mussolini set up a government in Albania, tightened Italian control over Libya, and, in 1936, took over Ethiopia, the African nation that had caused Italy an embarrassing defeat decades prior. These wars served to unite the Italian people and spread a sense of fear in Europe and establish Italy as a force. As Germany rose to power and the threat of another world war seemed imminent, Hitler's influence over Mussolini became clear. Jews, who had previously been respected and left alone under the fascist government, were suddenly stripped of their Italian citizenship. Unsurprisingly, when the war began, Italy joined on the side of Germany. In June 1940, confident that Germany would swiftly defeat the Allies, Italy joined the Axis powers and declared war on Britain and France. However, it soon became clear that the war would not be so easily won by the Axis.
Beginning in 1942, Italy's string of losses started turning public favor away from Mussolini. Citizens started turning to more truthful sources for their news, and then Mussolini's power was slipping. Even other members of the fascist party he had helped to create were turning against him. Though, Mussolini pleaded with Hitler to take steps to make peace with the Soviet Union and begged for members of the fascist party to stay loyal to him. His efforts were in vain. Mussolini was ousted from his own government, and Italy soon signed his armistice to end their participation in the war. Though Mussolini remained a public figure, he had no real political power. Finally, on April 27, 1945, following the fall of Hitler's government, Mussolini and his mistress, Claire Beresi, were captured and subsequently executed by communists. Thus, ended one of the most astounding rises in modern political history. Mussolini was hung upside down and shot multiple times. Mussolini was certainly an ambitious man, but his meteoric rise into retrospect was just leading up to his catastrophic fall.